When Game of Thrones first came out, it was more than a TV show. It became a cultural phenomenon. And when it comes to A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, this is a show that I think could go even further with that. Welcome back, everyone. I'm going to explain to you why I am saying this about A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms over the course of this video, and talk about why I think it has even more potential than a Game of Thrones does. And I'm also going to be talking a little bit about another show that you may remember, House of the Dragon, because it is coming up soon, and this series, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, did make me think back to House of the Dragon and why there are certain things there that work and don't work. I also just want to shout out Sir Raymond Fossaway, who I have decided to honor today with my mic, as per the lovely comment that I got from the Viking R. Bear, who said, no, you had to turn the mic green in honor of Sir Raymond, the goat of the Trial of Seven. But first, let me talk about some of the amazing talent that's bringing us this show, because something that I love about this series is that it is so much a team piece. It really is about the characters in the show. So first of all, we got to shout out our actor, of course, who plays Dunk, Peter Claffey, who I think is absolutely amazing. When Peter Claffey shared that when he was first getting fitted, he had to run away and go throw up, I also was just like, that is so endearing. Every interview I see with this man, he just is Dunk. He just is Dunk. And he also is such a seemingly down-to-earth, kind of humble dude. Like, wow. He just seems like an all-star person from what I've seen. But in the show, he is an all-star actor. He is amazing as Sir Duncan. And there's a level of being able to switch like clockwork from humor to tragedy that I love. We also, of course, have Dexter Soul Ansel and the relationship, I think, between Dunk and Egg and their sort of on-screen chemistry, the way that they work together and kind of get along. There's just this really cute, like, parent-child kind of vibe, but also like little brother. His scream in the battle episode it made me feel so many feelings. Such a talented and young performer as well. I could go on and on. I mean, we have Daniel Ings as Lionel, and I think Lionel's one of my favorite characters in the entire show, even though I love Dunk and I love Egg. Man, do I love the Laughing Storm. He's so great. We've also got Bertie Carvel as Baelor, and we have Sam Spruill as Maekar. And I think near the end of the series, I really wasn't expecting Maekar to stand out for me. In fact, at one point, I was a little worried that all of the characters were feeling... Once we get a lot of like royals in here, I was like, wait, who's that Targaryen? Sometimes I'll get a little confused about who's who, and then I have to like stop and like really look and like check it out. And that did not end up happening by the end of the series, because all of these characters, surprise, are nuanced. Nuanced characters. Who would have thought that that could be the thing to make me care? And yet it is. Even Maekar, I care about him. Is that crazy? I don't know, but it's a fact. And when it comes to the Targaryens, I think it's been hard for a lot of people to connect with them other than Daenerys, because we don't usually get to see the human sides of Targaryens. We usually get to see the most brutal, dramatic, crazy sides of Targaryens. And we hear these stories about them and all the terrible things they've done. I mean, even Aerion in the history books, he's got quite the story. And so when they're reduced to that, you lose a sense of the human connection. And it's crazy to think about that too, because to be honest, House Targaryen is still one of my favorite houses. However, I have two favorite houses and they're both very different. Let me know your favorite house in the Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire universe down in the comments below. Mine are the Targaryens and actually the Tullys. That's right. I love the Tullys. I would be eating that fish on the battlefield. Except not, because I don't eat fish. When it comes to the Targaryens, they're just usually known as being real crazy. So how do you really relate to a house that's just all about blood and fire and craziness and dragons and eating people with dragons and losing your mind and marrying your sister? And I think this show answered that question. It's because what this show is really about is it's about these cycles that we get trapped in. It's about how change happens. We see Dunk, a man who grew up in Flea Bottom, was raised by Sir Arlen, and although the world has given him nothing but adversity, he decides that he's going to use what he's experienced to motivate him to make the world a better place for other people so that children don't have to sleep in Flea Bottom. Now, Egg has not known adversity in the same way that Duncan has. He's a prince. He's grown up without having his tummy go hungry. I'm sure he's had every lap of luxury at his fingertips if he wanted. But he has had to deal with the pressures of royalty, and he's also had to deal with his family. And his family, as we know about the Targaryens, are a piece of work. But why are they a piece of work? Is it because they're prone to madness? I mean, maybe the whole marrying your sister, I think that might lend to some madness over time. But this series decides to examine it not just from the place of it being a genetic predisposition, but from it being this idea of nurture versus nature. Is it that these are just people and they were shaped by their family and by their experience to become these things, to become these monsters? You know, when we see Egg with that knife, considering taking out his brother Arion, and his dad comes over to stop him when Maekar comes to him, there isn't even an anger I feel in Maekar in that moment. He is sad that this is what his son is becoming, because he knows what it's like, because he's been there. Accidentally killing his own brother in this combat, like this is what the family is. And he wants to break the cycle as well. And so what I love is it gives us a totally different lens on the Targaryens than something like, let's say, House of the Dragon. And House of the Dragon is a series that I still enjoy. Don't get me wrong. I will be watching season 3. Please come back. I would love to discuss with you guys as we go through that show. But House of the Dragon differs in the sense that it's more focused on showing us the spectacle of the Targaryens. It is about those big moments, and we do have dragons in that show, and it's about these big fights and these big betrayals and how terrible people can be to each other, and we're not really focused as much on the positives of what motivates our characters. We're more focused on motivating our characters through fear and paranoia, a lot of negative emotions in that show. And so these characters that we see in House of the Dragon, the way they're portrayed, they all kind of tend to skew bad. But I think on paper, they are also, like we see with the Targaryens that we see in A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, they are just people. All of these people are just people. It's just about how you choose to portray that character, their actions, what perspective you're taking on it. And what I love about this show, about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, is that it is not afraid to really bring everything down to the ground, bring it about these small moments and make it real. Make these characters feel like people, allow you to understand them. Even if there's someone like Arion that's terrible. Even Arion loved to fish. And it is because of that that I fell in love with the show. There's so many moments that you can go back to and revisit and find little details within the performances or within the script. I mean, Egg liked to fish, and so did his brother Arion once. All these people are just people. And that's what makes the show unique. It has a unique perspective. It's also bringing us down to a more grounded viewpoint because we are following lower class characters like Sir Dunk. And I think that that's a unique perspective on the world, and it's also a unique tone that it brings to the show. And I think the problem with franchises, with things like Game of Thrones, like what we're seeing happen with House of the Dragon, is that we get so swept up in this idea of what something needs to be because we made something like Game of Thrones and it was successful. And why was it successful? What did people love? The shock value, the betrayal, the drama. So what are we going to do with our next series that we do in this world? We're going to focus on those things. It's a formula. We are being fed a formula. And while there's nothing wrong with that every now and then, of course, we all love comfort food. There are sitcoms I'm sure that you love, as do I, or Monster of the Week shows. And yet, every now and then, we like something a little fresh. So when something feels like it's becoming too tired, we get tired of it. And that's what we see also in Hollywood. I mean, let's take a look at any of the major franchises that are going on right now. Take a look at Marvel. It's important to examine what made a story reflect with people, not just in these ideas of what something is, but in the way that it made you feel. And so that's why this is so fresh, because it's focused on making us feel. It's focused on telling a good story and doing something that is unique and that is honest. It's not about applying a formula. It's not about, I know that last week you had this sloppy Joe, but we're gonna feed you another sloppy Joe because here at this Hollywood Studios, that's what we love to do each week. One sloppy Joe, another sloppy Joe. This movie, we're gonna have the same 3 actors as in this other movie that has the same 3 actors. Same plot as last week. Why do you need to change it? I mean, what's the point of that? The thing is with this series that is magical is I do wonder how much HBO got really involved in this, because it kind of feels like a show that they weren't banking on doing well. When I looked into the budget, I believe each episode cost less than $10 million, which is still expensive. I mean, if I had $10 million right now, I don't even know what I would do with that. But in the greater scheme of television, HBO television, especially Game of Thrones HBO television, that is a small budget for them. Also, I feel like this show has lower stakes. It's more focused on a legend, a legendary figure in the world. It's not like this is the history of everything that's happened. It's just one character. High stakes for the characters, low stakes for the world, maybe. At least on paper, obviously. I mean, R.I.P. Baylor. It feels like this show had less studio meddling to me, because it feels like everyone's so in sync with what it is, and they aren't trying to fit it into the box of Game of Thrones. They're letting it be and trusting that they know the universe well enough that they don't have to formulaically feed us something. And that's ultimately why I think this series is amazing, and why it will stand out over the test of time as an amazing show. I cannot wait to go back and watch it and see all of the little things that I missed. There are these character moments that tell us more about who the person is, so when other choices come around, it all makes sense. So when we understand why Egg ran away, we see the family, it all makes sense. I can't wait to go back and see that. It is rewatchable for me. It is probably one of the best series of the year. I don't know what will beat it. Maybe Wonder Man, but for me, Wonder Man was very personal. If you haven't seen my review on that, if you are at all interested, please do check it out. And I think this show will stand the test of time beyond even just this year. I think it is a once-in-a-lifetime series. It definitely is one of the best TV series I've seen in the last decade. And that is because it is focused on being honest, on speaking to people, and everyone in this production just feels like they're completely on board with it. And while I don't think its numbers are as high for view as, Game of Thrones or even maybe House of the Dragon, I think over time, this is going to grow. And I think this is because people have lost faith. But this one, they just decided to honor George R.R. Martin's work. And while I know there are some differences, I've started the book and I will be doing a video on the book here on my channel. So if you want to hear my thoughts on the first novella, you will be able to check that out here shortly. And it's nice because it's a novella, so it doesn't take me long to give that a peruse. I feel like with the book, just based on even what I've, read so far, this is honoring what the vibe of that book is. This is honoring the tone, and there is just something so endearing about it. And we need more stuff like that right now, because we need heroes. It's really important. Anyways, that's all I have for this one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this journey with me, and hopefully I'll see you back for the book review. And I'll see you here for other videos, because I love talking about fantasy and I will never stop. That's all I have. And thank you everyone for all the amazing comments. You've been so great. I will see you down in the comments again this time, and I will see you next time. And until next time, stay nerdy, friends. Bye. And if you love when I talk about fantasy, you need to check this out.